Hey everybody, and welcome back, Superman Crypto. Another video on TitanX, and this is the new protocol that's going to be going on top of TitanX, which is called Hyper. This is a chart that Jake Sharp, the founder of TitanX, and of course Hyper, has put out on his X social platform. And of course, we're going to go through it quickly, just so you get a bit of an idea of Hyper. Obviously, there'll be a white paper as well at some stage, so looking forward to that. So let's get and have a look at this this Hyper explanation. We can see at the top there we've got some sort of TitanX 8% builder reward there. And of course, we've also got a TitanX Hyper LP pair. And obviously, at the moment, it's TitanX Ethereum. So that is the exit and the entry into the TitanX and Hyper system. But of course, having a second pair is going to be absolutely amazing because it's going to be destroying a lot of Hyper and TitanX in accordance. So it's going to be pretty neat. In this case, a lot of Hypers can be destroyed. Basically, that 8%, up to 8% builder reward, that encourages people to build protocols on top of both TitanX and Hyper. Swaps for Hyper. In this case, it buys and swaps Hyper. Jake had one comment say there's a mistake in the image. TitanX LPs in the TitanX Hyper pair actually buy Hyper and burn it. It just doesn't get burned, right? So the Hyper and the LP doesn't just get burned. I guess the TitanX is used to swap for Hyper and burning that completely. So that is a extra mechanism, bit of a magical one from the looks of it. Really next level game theory there from Jake Sharp. So it's going to be pretty cool. So it's going to be a buy and burn of Hyper with all the fees that are in there, because obviously part of the fees are TitanX as well inside that those earnings. So that's going to be bullish. The other thing is, of course, 1 billion TitanX burn. That's what, if you want to enter it, if you did a 1 billion equivalent in terms of burning your TitanX for Hyper, then you got to pay a 0.2 Ethereum fee. So that's important to remember, right? And that fee is going to be used to buy TitanX in the bottom here, which is super bullish. Just another buying factor pushing TitanX up. So pretty neat. And let's look what happens here. So the 1 billion, when you do that, like if you did only 100 million, it would be 0.02 Ethereum that you'd be required to pay as an entry fee. So, but based on 1 billion, if you had that much, then you would be able to participate and you'd be able to get your Hyper for that. So when you do that, it buys TitanX. It's going to buy TitanX, and of course, it then swaps for Hyper. And of course, TitanX Hyper LP pair pushes up the Titan Hyper ratio and burns the Hyper bought, right? So it's going to be pretty cool in there. Buy and burn, of course. And of course, with the 1 billion, of course, you get plus some bonuses. You get some bonuses in there if you're going to burn your TitanX for Hyper. And of course, you got a early adoption bonus there, plus 10% to 0 over 350 days. So similar mechanism as TitanX. So we expect to see that, plus a burn bonus amplifier as well. TitanX's user burn bonus amplifier, 0 to 8%. Of course, we've seen that in TitanX as well. So it's going to be pretty much mirroring, on Hyper will be mirroring TitanX in that component, which is pretty amazing. 8% APR to 35% APR. So when you do burn your Titan X for Hyper, you will get auto staked, and the minimum stake period is 8 days. Maximum stake period is 888 days. The APR for that, so annual percentage return, is 8% APR to 35%. So remember that. But if you obviously did over 365 days and you went up to the max of 888 days, that 35% basically is an APY of about 84%. So pretty big carrot there for that if you believe in the ecosystem over that long time period. It's going to be pretty amazing. Decentralized Titan Hyper 1% LP full. Earn LP fees in TitanX and Hyper from trading. Burns TitanX and burns Hyper. So pretty awesome. Some of the Hyper features here: ability to get liquid on TitanX stakes. So if you've got, you can either use liquid TitanX or stake TitanX to participate in terms of swapping that and burning that for Hyper. So just remember that. And the conversion will be a 1-to-1 conversion from TitanX to Hyper. It's pretty cool. So if you do have long-term stakes and maybe you want to liquidate them, I'm sure a lot of the big whales will do that. Then you can do that, right? Otherwise, you can just stay there staked, and your share rate will probably go up, all things equal, if a lot of the big whales end up burning their TitanX stakes for Hyper. So you're going to earn a percentage of the Ethereum for, so basically, why would people do that? Well, one of the reasons is because you're going to earn a percentage of the Ethereum from the TitanX's 7% burn pool. That's not being activated at the moment. Can't really see that on the protocol. It's going to be, but that's going to show up pretty soon once Hyper launches. You can increase your TitanX burn bonus amplifier. Applies to Hyper as well. Arbitrage opportunities versus TitanX, of course, between the pools. So we're going to have two pools, right? We're going to have TitanX and Ethereum, which exists now. And then we're going to have Hyper and TitanX. And that's going to be super bullish. I'm expecting the Genesis wallet to do a one-off mint of the Hyper to set up that original liquidity pool on V3, the 1% pool, and then, of course, match all the TitanX it's been getting, or at least a good proportion of it that's been getting as part of the normal TitanX protocol, and put that into the pool with the Hyper that mints. And so there won't be any Hyper out there other than what's minted by probably the Genesis wallet, is my guess. And of course, then for 8 days, you'll have to just buy it on the market, which would be pretty crazy. Could be a great opportunity. Going to be a crazy time as well. Maybe we won't really see the first staked Hyper come out until 8 days. Just remember that. And of course, the longer pays better, right? Early adoption bonus, and that's pretty much it. So you want to get that high APR. You got to pretty much stake out longer when you go to burn your TitanX for Hyper. Remember that all happens at the same time. So you auto stake at the beginning, and you set the term that you want to stake for when you burn your TitanX for Hyper. So that's the very important mechanisms to remember there. So you're going to get an 8% APY to 35% APR staked on Hyper. 888-day stake is circa the 84% APY. Decentralized LP pool, Uniswap V3 1%, which we've already got on TitanX, is going to be amazing. Fees earned in TitanX and Hyper get burned. Now, remember, the TitanX basically buys up Hyper and then burns it as well. So that's what kind of Jake's getting at there from what I can tell. And, of course, Hyper Liquid is burnable. You can burn your Liquid Hyper as well. Some burn mechanisms as TitanX. And so there's a lot of that similarity in there. So people can build on top of Hyper. Imagine getting protocols burning on top of TitanX and on top of Hyper. Man, oh man, oh man, it's going to be amazing. Hyper stakes are also burnable. Same building mechanics as TitanX. So what are we going to see? We're going to see ROI protocols. We're going to see hardcore DeFi like lending and DEX aggregators and things like that. Is that what we're going to see? And DEXs. It's going to be fun to see what we get built on top of Hyper. Really, really cool. Obviously, Hyper itself is kind of like the staking protocol. I always think of it like the store of value. And of course, TitanX like the medium of exchange. But hey, look, maybe they're both going to be pretty awesome. The stores of value in the bull market. It's going to be fun to see. So that is a summary of this dashboard, pretty much, or diagram of Hyper that Jake Sharp had put out earlier today. So I hope you guys enjoyed that quick video there. And when the white paper comes out, we'll give you more details. All right, take care, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. Catch you in the next one. Bye for now.